This season's balance changes. Well, they are definitely balance changes, alright. Starting off with the assault rifles, we have the Crick 6. It has received an improvement to its first and second damage ranges. This means that you no longer have to run a barrel to have a good 4-tap range, which allows you to use that extra slot for something else, such as the agile stock for better strafe speed, or an optic of preference for better visibility. Its BSA has also been improved, but given that it already has amazing BSA, this isn't quite as significant. Despite this, the Crick 6 will still struggle in the current meta, as its time to kill is still too slow for a flex weapon, which this buff doesn't address. The CR56 AMAX has received a buff to its lower arm multipliers and damage range. This change gives it a very consistent 4-tap up to 30 meters, and gives it a very similar niche to the HBR-A3, except it trades some range and BSA for better recoil and mobility. The M67 ammo conversion has also received a buff to its upper arm multipliers, making it very consistent, as you only need to land one upper body shot to guarantee the 2-tap. Maddox has received a minor buff to its damage range, and the Echo Fire mod no longer penalizes the upper arm multipliers. This should allow you to get 2 burst kills more consistently, although the lack of a suppressor still holds its weapon back and means that it's still going to be a worse version of the Odin. The lower arm multipliers of the Type 25 have been increased. This will make reducing shots to kill outside the initial range quite a bit more consistent, assuming you use stopping power, which does make it a pretty decent aggressive assault rifle, but the subpar BSA does leave a lot to be desired. The FAR's damage in the third range has been increased by 1. This is a very minor buff, although it does allow you to achieve a 5-tap by landing a headshot and 1 chest or upper arm shot. The ICR-1 has received a buff to its lower arm multipliers. This makes 3 taps in the initial range slightly more achievable, although it is still very inconsistent without headshots. So basically, the ICR will still struggle due to its slow time to kill, and therefore remaining as a lower tier option. The FR556's mag size has been increased by 5. This is a nice change, but considering that the gun doesn't really have any standout traits, this is still a very underwhelming assault rifle. Moving on to the SMGs, the MX-9's chest and upper arm multipliers have been increased, making 4 taps in the second range much more consistent. Its BSA has also been improved, but given that its recoil won't even let you use it at those kinds of ranges, this change doesn't really matter as much. If they want the MX-9 to be a competitive option in the future, they should focus more on buffing its recoil, hopefully back to its pre-nerf state. The OWC foregrip of the PW57 has had its penalties reduced. It's clear that the devs want to make this a more appealing option, but given that the PDW doesn't have any issues with recoil in the first place, this is still a redundant attachment. Honestly, if they remove all the downsides of this attachment, it still wouldn't be a worthwhile option. The M21 EBR has had its initial range increased by 4 meters, allowing it to achieve 1 taps more often in closer ranges. But given its slower fire rate and awkward handling compared to other DMRs, it is still a sub-optimal weapon. The single-fire marksman rifles have had their hit multipliers increase significantly. This change is more so intended for Battle Royale, as it allows them to 1-tap to the head. So basically, against 250 HP, all 3 marksman rifles have an unlimited 1-shot headshot range. But against 300 HP, only the SPR can do this up to an unlimited distance. The other 2 marksman rifles will no longer be able to 1-tap after a certain distance. There are also quite a few equipment changes that happened this season, but there are only really 2 that you want to focus on. The control field, which has had its duration increased significantly, is now much stronger in objective game modes, and the flame knot, which has had its HP reduced by a whole third. So as long as you maintain your distance, you should be able to take it out quite reliably. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this season. Going dark.